The REM has logged over 1 million trips since it first opened last year. Today is my first time riding the REM. So come along with me as we take a look at how the last year's been and what's to come next. People were super excited to hop on the inaugural trip of the REM when the first 5 stations opened last July. The REM said the first 8 months was supposed to be a breaking-in period, and it didn't go quite smoothly. Service delays, elevator issues, a lack of communication with riders, and cost overruns. They all plagued that first section of the network. There's also the construction delays that are preventing the rest of the network from coming online. We wanted to take a look at how well the system served Montrealers so far. So I asked a transportation expert what grade he would give the REM.
The report card, I would give it in its current state is a B, but for a first year, I would give it a C+ or a B-. I mean, we did have a very rocky start. There were a lot of issues, and we still have too many power failures. We still have too many breakdowns and delays, but things are getting better and better.
Let's take a ride with the spokesperson for the REM's developer to find out what's improved since then. Tell me how the past year has went.
The start was not what we hoped for, but we're getting better. We have a system that is kind of unique in the world because of its situation. It's 67 kilometers, and it's a fully automated system in a city where you have minus 25 and up to over 35 degrees. So it's very particular, and considered all this, we're quite proud where we are, but we're not there yet.
There was a breaking-in period when it first started. Are we out of that?
The amount of outages or interruptions is less and less important, and the duration, and that's the most important thing, duration is shorter. Last year, if an outage or an interruption occurred, it would take us something like an hour to restore everything. Now it's less than 20 minutes, so we're getting more efficient.
I know there's been delays. In April, there was that announcement about the West Island and North Shore branches being postponed. Tell me about how construction's going.
Almost all of the infrastructure is completed, except for the Montreal tunnel, which has been more complex. It's an old tunnel, more than a century old. We had to put it back to safety criteria. The condition of the tunnel and the pandemic represent about 2 years of delay. We're quite confident we'll be able to commission the rest of the REM in 2025.
There's been some accessibility issues with people with mobility, getting around, people in wheelchairs, elevators breaking down. What can they expect going forward?
When we use a shuttle during an interruption, most of the shuttles are adapted. In these cars, there are places for people in wheelchair. Our stations are accessible, and yes, we know that sometimes some elevators might have some issues. We're still working on that.
So when the REM was created, it was touted as it was going to change the era of transit. Can you tell me how that's happened?
It's a fully automated train that you will meet in other cities like in Europe or in Asia. It's quite fast, it's dedicated, and it will allow people to access, for example, a university student living in Kirkland or Deux-Montagnes will be able to drop at Edouard Montpetit and get to HEC, or to get to McGill and get to the Green Line to go to Concordia. Someone living in Du Quartier and solar project will be able to insert with the case, get to airport without putting a jacket on.
REM officials say they've learned a lot about noise mitigation as well, and will be making improvements on the future branches of the network. So that was my first trip on the REM. Super smooth, super cool, but not too many people. But once the rest of the REM's branches are complete, they can expect about 150,000 riders a day. Test trains are already zipping through the rest of the network, so you might see some of them on the rails. When it's complete, the REM will connect riders to not just Montreal's South Shore, but the West Island, Western Laval, and the town of Deux-Montagnes. So if all goes to plan and there aren't further delays, you could expect to be riding the next portion of the REM by 2025.